Hong Kong is one of the world's most affluent cities. Although the city has one of the highest per capita incomes in the world, severe inequality exists among the population. With this problem intensified in the COVID era, the life for poor families has progressively been harder. In this video, we're providing you with the opportunity to reflect on the life of a poor family of 4 people during COVID in Hong Kong, experiencing inequality in multiple areas ranging from income, health, and education. So let's first start with Chu Xue, an 11-year-old primary school student.
Hi, I'm Huang Qiuxue. Before COVID, I went to school in person to attend class. But starting from 2020, when COVID started to spread in Hong Kong, we were told that all schoolwork will be taught online with Zoom. The problem was that I don't have a computer. Luckily, one of my close friends in school realized my situation and lent me her laptop. But still, I didn't have a stable Wi-Fi in my house, so I could not join the Zoom class actively. I am angry and sad about this situation because I really want to learn and get good grades. But it is hard for me to do so because I didn't have proper devices like laptops and Wi-Fi. I am upset that my poor situation is interrupting my passion to learn.
As we can see in Chu Xue's situation, COVID-19 turned education from the transitional teaching method to online learning. Low-income families do not have the essential electronic devices to have online lessons or even access to the internet. A survey conducted by Educational University pointed out that nearly half of the students do not have computers and 30% of students have unstable network. The father must be the foundation of all the family, especially given the power of income that he brings, as well as safety and protection only a father can provide. Now, let's move on to Frankie, the only man who serves as the breadwinner of the household.
Hi, I'm Frankie, father of Qiu Xue, and the only worker in my family. I used to work with other 100 workers in the construction site. But now, after COVID worsened, more than half of them were fired. Also, when I'm earning this minimum wage of 37.5 Hong Kong dollars per hour, my secondary school friend who works in finance earns about 47 times more than me. I feel so jealous. Although I want to change my job to a high-income one, I don't have the skills. I feel so sorry for my family members and angry at myself because there's nothing much to do to change this lamentable situation.
Unemployment in Hong Kong soared to a 16-year high of 6.6% in 2021. Also, as Hong Kong government announced to freeze the minimum wage at Hong Kong dollar 37.5 due to the deepening of recession brought by COVID. Charity Oxfam's Hong Kong Director General Kalina Chang stated on this issue that freezing of the minimum wage caused difficulty in low-skilled job people's salary to catch up with inflation. That further gets mentioned in our next story of Susan, Frankie's wife. The pillar of all families is the role of a mother, and it is absolutely necessary to reflect on the mother to see if the family is indeed in poverty, and even if they are they truly taken care of by the mother for meals? The question remains unanswered due to concern of rising living costs.
Hi, I'm Susan, a housewife. My biggest concern nowadays is that food prices are too high. Before COVID, I think I was able to buy groceries at a much cheaper price. But nowadays, when I go to buy rice and eggs, I feel things getting more and more expensive every time I visit those marketplaces. Oh, and I really wish COVID ends quickly because quite a lot of money is being spent on buying masks and other health supplies. I really care about hygiene, but because we need to have our mask changed every day, and we have 4 people in our family, we spend quite a lot of money on masks as well, which seriously burdens us financially with more life expenses.
According to Hong Kong government statistics, the average consumer price inflation in the first 4 months of 2022 is 1.6%, 0.4% higher than 1.2% in the year. And specifically, food price has the second largest share in the calculation of CPI and has increased by 3.7% compared to last year. Also, due to implementation of the government's mandatory mask order, families have to spend a significant amount of money on acquiring goods like masks and test kits. This negatively affects poor families, as according to research of the Federation of Hong Kong and Kowloon labor unions, over 70% of the interviewed grassroots families need to spend over $1,000 per month to purchase protective gears, and 20% of the families have expressed difficulty in paying related costs. Let's look at how elderly within Frankie's family see the world.
Hello, I am Emma, 87 years old. I have some chronic disease. It needs to be controlled by medicine. However, during the COVID, many non-emergency and non-essential outpatient services were greatly reduced. I could not visit the doctors to get medication. It was expensive to visit public hospitals. We could not get help from anyone. I felt desperate. Moreover, we are living in a crowded, subdivided flat. There are many others on the same floor. With such a high density of population, I worried about getting infected. I also felt depressed and anxious during the time given the difficult condition of our family. I suffered from insomnia during that time.
According to CUHK Institute of Health Equity, the COVID-19 outbreak has exposed and exacerbated the pre-existing social inequalities in Hong Kong. Poor people had limited access to healthcare, faced larger risks of infection, and worsening mental health. According to statistics, 24.7% of the deprived feel anxious about being infected, which is much higher than the 9.1% in the non-deprived people. It is clearly shown that health inequality worsened during the COVID times. With this family story, we can see that the COVID-19 pandemic had worsened the different forms of inequality Hong Kong already suffered from its severe levels of poverty. As our evidence transparently shows the complex relationship between family income, care that a mother provides, and health of the grandmother, we can conclude that income at the end is ironically both the root and the solution to the fundamental problem of poverty. Knowledge inequality with inadequate online learning materials, income inequality with unstable employment and rising living costs, as well as health inequality caused with people unable to provide themselves the essential health supplies to survive the pandemic. Inequalities in an unusual setting like the pandemic cannot be addressed through traditional measures like education. However, health and knowledge inequalities created through poverty in a pandemic cannot be solved entirely through educational means like other forms of poverty and inequality. Firstly, it is in charge of the government to make sure to have a collective understanding for public hygiene and safety, and it is mostly up to government policies to provide efficient and high-quality public healthcare infrastructure, as well as policies to prevent corruption in order to minimize the impact to education of children and properly address and minimize the health inequalities prevalent in a brutally unequal society like Hong Kong. It depends on who is interested in keeping the situation as it is and who wants it to be changed. It is believed that the others in poverty of humanity are the ones who do not want the inequality to be solved due to their need to gain an advantage over others. At the end, solving poverty should be everyone's goal for effective altruism. However, it is human nature to be greedy and jealous of others, and the need to be satisfied all the time without realizing that they can never be satisfied. From our video, it may be an opportunity for us to reflect on poverty and inequality around us in Hong Kong. Through this course, we were able to examine the causes and consequences of poverty and inequality through our case of inequality during COVID-19 in Hong Kong. We understood the role of general society and its people in understanding and dealing with poverty, as well as the difficulties of someone poor and in getting out of the poverty trap, and realized that poverty is a multifaceted and complex concept.